Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Julie Hogan, filling in for Terry Stiles. In this week's news, a longtime special education teacher passes away, a beautification award is won, and a soon-to-become Eagle Scout serves his community.
Stay tuned and learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Oxford schools are seeking $1.5 million for new buses. In the November election, voters will be asked to approve two proposals, a $28 million bond and a 5-year $0.75 mil sinking fund. On the November ballot, both would be used to fund a variety of capital improvement projects throughout the Oxford School District. Should the proposals be approved, officials are looking to invest over $30 million into transportation, building system, site improvements, roofing, technology infrastructure, security cameras, and playgrounds throughout the district.
Catherine Sullivan, a longtime teacher at Oxford Middle School, passed away at 56 on September 4th after a long battle with cancer. Sullivan taught at the OMS 6th grade Blue Team and supported students throughout the school as a special education teacher since 1999. She spent a total of 32 years working as a special education teacher. School principal Dakia Beasley said that she was a special person who had a heart for her students. OMS teacher Natalie DeVersia said that she truly was one of the most kind and warm-hearted people she knew. In lieu of flowers, memorial tributes may be made to Oxford Community Schools. Those who donate are asked to write Kathy Sullivan Memorial in the memo section of checks. Funds will be used to benefit OMS special education students in the future.
When it comes to winning beautification awards, some property owners have the magic touch, such as the case with Roots Hair Salon and the Sierra family. Both have just earned their 4th award from the Oxford Village Beautification Commission. Last week, the Commission announced the winners of the 25th Annual Awards. In total, 6 homes and 3 commercial properties were selected to receive honors.
Business owners wanting larger freestanding signs for their businesses will be directed to the Planning Commission. Last week's Planning Commissioner discussed the Council's August 8th decision to reject the recommendation to increase the maximum allowable area for signs to 32 feet. This policy affects businesses in the central business and general business zoning districts around M24. The Council decided against the proposal in a 3-2 vote. Planning Commission Chairman Gary Douglas said that the Council will not approve larger signs and requests for such will be denied. However, he encouraged business owners requesting an increase in size to lobby the Council.
A boo-boo made at last week's Oxford Village Planning Commission meeting means a local developer will have to settle for a smaller than planned building. Planning commissioners voted 5-0 to approve a revised building design that would have allowed local developer Dave Weckel to construct a 3-story structure at 32 East Burdick Street. Weckel was hoping to add a single residential condominium as part of the proposed 3rd floor construction. Planning commissioners approved only a 2-story structure in May. The problem is Weckel now plans to have an office and space in the building, and that means that a 3rd story would violate the planned unit development agreement he currently has with the Village and Downtown Development Authority. Under the PUD approved by the Village Council in September 2016 and DDA Board in November of 2015, if the building contains office space, it's restricted to 2 stories.
Thanks to 17-year-old Scout Kyle Fuller, the Pollyant Trail just got a bit nicer for all who use it. In his quest to become an Eagle Scout, the Leonard resident created a rest area where the trail begins in Oakland County as part of his community service project. Thanks to Fuller and his efforts, walkers, runners, bicyclists, and equestrians now have more to enjoy about the trail. And that's Oxford News This Week. If you would like to learn more about these stories and others, you can catch us on our website, occtv.org, on YouTube, and of course your regular cable channel Charter 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
Coming up soon, OCTV's very own Cody Wright with Sports Report. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Julie Hogan. Thanks for watching Oxford News This Week.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Canine Stray Rescue does just that. Rescue stray dogs for new families. But they need your help. Become a volunteer at Canine Stray Rescue League of Michigan. Take dogs for walks, help them socialize with others, and help them get adopted. Fill out an application and help a family add a new member today.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, there is no relief on the horizon for beleaguered citizens in California, Montana, Oregon, and other western states besieged by an abnormally large profusion of forest fires. Nationally, wildfires this year have scorched 8.2 million acres. That is roughly the size of Maryland and way ahead of the 5.6 million acre annual average up to September seen between 2006 and 2016. The U.S. National Interagency Fire Center, or NIFC, in Idaho says there are currently 64 very large fires. Montana has been the worst hit, suffering 25, and Oregon now has 17. And it looks like there is more to come. Most western states will remain at risk throughout September. Fuel moisture levels and fire danger indices in these areas are at near record to record levels for severity, says the NIFC. In August, rainfall was 25% below average and in western states, and temperatures were 35.6 to 42.8 degrees Fahrenheit higher than normal. As part of this wildfire outlook for the rest of the year, the NIFC predicts fires this month in parts of Idaho, Nevada, and Utah. There, grasses were 2 to 3 times more profuse than usual, but have since dried out. The NIFC says states such as Montana are so bone dry that they could still be at risk in October. Fires are also likely as late as December in central Texas and most of Oklahoma following a predicted dry spell in the late autumn. Charities supporting lung health warn that people exposed to smoke and other pollution from fires are at higher risk of short and long-term lung damage. Children whose lungs are still immature and the elderly are most at risk. We consider unhealthy air to contain around 35 micrograms of particulate matter per cubic meter, but in Montana, they're looking at just under 1,000 over many days on a regular basis, says Janice Nolan of the American Lung Association in Washington, D.C. Man-made climate change is making things incrementally hotter and allowing for fuels to dry out that much faster, says John Abatzoglu at the University of Idaho. There is also a legacy of fire suppression and fuel accumulation that has intensified the natural pattern of wildfires in the U.S. We need to prevent this going forward, and one reason we're having this crisis is climate change, says Nolan. It's exacerbating these events, making them more likely and more severe, so as a nation we need to act now to reduce the burden going forward, she says. And over in Japan, there's a new ice in town, a porous, lightweight aero ice that can tell us more about how water works under extreme condition. Matsukatsu Matsumoto at Akuyama University in Japan and his team modeled this aero ice with a node and stick scaffold of molecules. In normal ice, water cools at an ambient pressure and freezes into a solid crystal form arranged in hexagons. Hexagonal ice and the occasional bit of cubic ice in our upper atmosphere are the only two forms that occur naturally on Earth. At below atmospheric pressure, water molecules become a less dense, lightweight crystal that is more air than molecule, like an icy cotton candy. Wow. And back on the ground, windows are death traps for bats. If they approach a smooth vertical surface like a window at an angle, none of their echolocating clicks bounce back to them, making it appear that there is a gap that they can fly through. They think it's an opening, says Stefan Grief at the Max Planck Institute for Ornithology in Simwiesen, Germany. In 2010, he found that bats perceive a smooth horizontal plate as water. When he left plates standing upright, he noticed that bats tended to collide with them. To investigate further, Grief and his colleagues got greater mouse-eared bats to fly through a narrow tunnel. When a small plate, or a smooth plate, was put on one edge of the tunnel, 19 of the 21 bats collided with it at least once. None were hurt. When Grief had put similar plates near a wild bat colony, the bats also crashed into them. Grief says the beam of sound emitted by bats is like the beam of light from a flashlight. If you shine a flashlight at a mirror in the dark, you won't see a reflection unless you are directly in front of the mirror or very close to it. Smooth surfaces are the acoustic equivalent of mirrors. Over their evolutionary history, bats did not meet any smooth vertical surfaces, says Grieth Jones at the University of Bristol in the UK. No one knows how many bats are killed this way, but if buildings near bat colonies really are death trapped, Grief says, the death toll could be cut with acoustic deterrents. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
There's a lot of history to Oxford. Hidden around every corner, deep in every crack, and sometimes right in front of you, waiting to be discovered. If you just dig a little, you'll find the great history of our beautiful town. Welcome to historic Oxford.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. A new school year is upon us, and with it, a new bond issue to consider this November. Actually, it's a bond and a sinking fund combination designed to do major improvements to our school properties. I spoke with Superintendent Tim Throne about this.
The real purpose. So the real purpose is to spend money using the appropriate financial vehicle to do major renovations that our everyday operational budget can't handle.
I took a tour with our head maintenance man, Tony Sarkins. One of the places we went was Wildcat Drive at Oxford Middle School, a good place for a comparison of old versus new.
Section, this is when they brought the township brought the new water main that goes back and feeds the trailer Lakeville Villa. Yep. The park back there. They brought the water through here. We allowed them to bring it through the property, and they reconstructed this piece of pavement. This will give you a perfect example of what it will look like after we reconstruct the rest of Wildcat Drive.
Throne explains that major renovations have a way of bleeding the general fund to death.
I think we currently have 15% of our budget in our fund balance. So think of that as sort of like an emergency fund, that kind of thing. It's also used for cash flow. We don't receive payments from the state every month. So there are months where we need to keep paying people, and we don't have revenue coming in. We have to front that. We don't want to go out and borrow money and pay interest costs to do that. So it's sort of, in a very basic sense, sort of an emergency savings account, okay? Even that fund can't really sustain more than just one or two major renovations.
All in all, the combination of the bond and the sinking fund would result in an annual tax increase of about $75 for each $100,000 of property value. Ken Weaver is our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. The first phase of Spanish in the elementaries has been launched. I asked him how it's going.
Oh, I think quite well. I mean, I've heard quite a bit of I don't want to say praise, but encouragement from parents that they appreciate it. I've heard quite a bit of feedback from the principals that the kids seem to be really enjoying things and doing well. Sad to at the same time to be losing the Chinese aspect, but I think it'll be easier for children to succeed in the Spanish language, and then if they still want to move over to the Chinese, we still have that at the secondary level where I think they're a little more focused and so forth, and I think that we'll still be able to challenge them if they...
Test scores are back. All seems in line for our district.
For the most part in ELA, 6 out of 9 grade levels were above the county average, which we're in a county that scores extremely well. Usually it's in the top 10 as far as English language arts scores across the counties in Michigan. And in math, it's usually in the top 5 as far as county averages go. And so I'm really pleased with where we're at. It's one of those things that, yeah, like you said, you're never pleased completely where the scores are. But overall, yeah, our SAT scores at the high school took a nice jump. Our PSAT scores are solid. You know, it's one of those things that as we go on and as we keep moving through the curriculums and making adjustments, really trying to put things in place that help children.
Some doubts about M-STEP, though.
Well, we're not really sure. Supposedly the state is changing some things. We thought those changes would be made public like last February, but they didn't get those changes in place, and they are in the process of their they had to work with the federal government in their compliance with the Every Student Succeeds Act, and so as they're working through that, that also had to do with our accountability as within the state and what tests and so forth we're using. So they're working through that process. The only thing with the M-STEP is I think overall it's a solid test. I wish that we got better item analysis back, that we were able to do more with the test. It's just very difficult. The type of item analysis that we get back, it's not statistically very reliable, and also as well, it's not very useful in the data that we get.
We'll have more on these stories on Schooling Around. That's the Oxford School Update for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
What's going on, Wildcat fans? Cody Wright here for yet another sports report. Let's not waste any time and let's dive in and see how things are shaping up. Boys soccer went on the road Tuesday to face Bloomfield Hills. The team has been struggling, holding a 1-7-1 record overall. They didn't seem to change that against Bloomfield. The final score was 4-0. Boys varsity tennis took on Southfield here at home on Tuesday as well. They crushed them with a final of 8-0 on the bright side, giving them an overall record of 2-0 for the books. Looking ahead, our girls varsity swim and girls volleyball both have upcoming events next week. The girls will dive in against Ferndale in uncharted waters, and over our volleyball club will head to Seaholm and then return home to take on Troy. Go to the website oxfordathletics.org for more details on those. Our freshman football team faced Adams High School here at home as well. Things are looking great for our up-and-comers as they crushed them with a final score of 35-0. Things are looking bright for our future football program, it looks. And lastly, the boys varsity football team game is set for Friday the 22nd, and we will be taking on Clarkston. They will be taking the field wearing blue and gold camouflage jerseys. The names will bear the names of service people past and present. It's all part of fundraiser for Miracle Quilts, local nonprofit organizations started by Addison Township residents, so don't miss it. And that should just about wrap up this week's report. Once again, for more information on these events and more, go to oxfordathletics.org. Games, times, scores, and statistics can all be found there. Once again, that is oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, check us out at occtv.org. You can watch our coverage of the games on our YouTube channel, along with many more programs we put together. All accessed through the website. That is occtv.org. Well, that's all for this week's sports report. Don't forget to tune in next time. I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats.
Hi, I'm Julie Hogan. Welcome to your weekly calendar of events, where we feature your weekly community events for Oxford and Addison Township, including charities, special fundraisers, and general community information. If you or your organization would like us to help you get your message out to our viewing public, please contact us at 248-628-9658 or go to our website, occtv.org. The Oxford Women's Club is hosting their 2017 fashion show to raise funds for their scholarship fund. This event will be held on Wednesday, October 4th at the Boulder Point Banquet Center at One Champion Circle in Oxford. Tickets are $35 and include great shopping with many local artists and vendors, a great fashion show, and a delicious dinner. Be sure to round up all your friends for this fun evening. Shopping begins at 5 p.m. and dinner is served at 7. If you would like more info about this organization and its scholarship fund, or to purchase tickets, contact Sharon at 248-628-9278 or go to the club's website at oxfordwomensclub.com. Also, if you'd like to become a vendor for this upcoming fashion show, contact Nancy Martin at 248-672-9414 or email her at nancykmartin@hotmail.com. Gather your friends and register early to reserve your spot for the annual Halloween Road Rally hosted by the Oxford Township Parks and Rec Department. Enjoy an evening of fun as you travel throughout Oxford solving puzzles and clues which will lead you to the final destination, with prizes and buffet-style dinner at the end. This festive event will be held on Saturday, October 14th at 5:30 p.m. Cost is $120 for a team of 4 and adults over age 18 with a $5 discount for each Oxford resident. It includes great prizes and the buffet-style dinner. Pull together a team costume and receive bonus points. Space is limited, so be sure to register early. To register, be sure to stop by the new Parks and Rec office located in Seymour Lake Park at 2795 Seymour Lake Road or call 248-628-1720. The Oxford Public Library is hosting some great upcoming events. Backed by popular demand, the library will be offering music in the atrium garden side for your listening pleasure. In continuing the tradition of downtown Oxford's Thursday night concerts in the park, the library is hosting a variety of great musical groups on Thursday evenings. The next musical group will be on Thursday, September 21st at 7 p.m., featuring the Spangler-Smith Quartet, who will entertain you with a mix of jazz, swing, and blues. Also at the library, bring a sweater and join one of the adult librarians and other book lovers for a walk around Powell Lake. Share what you've enjoyed reading and get ideas for new books to try. Please meet by the fireplace in the adult room if it's raining, and note that this is an adult-only pet-free event. This event will be held on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. on October 3rd and November 7th. For more info about any of these great events, contact the Oxford Library at 248-628-3034 or go to the website at miopl.net and click on Events. If you own a business, belong to an organization, or are a local resident wishing to show your support for our school programs, music concerts, or any of the many programs broadcast by our TV station, you could become a sponsor or underwriter for OCTV. A promotional spot will be created just for you, and our broadcast announcers will give you continuous recognition. It's a great way to promote your organization. For more info, contact our station manager, Bill Service, at 248-628-9658 or email him at manager@occtv.org. Also, don't forget, you can locate our OCTV program schedule by going to our website and clicking on Schedule. There you'll find a list of great OCTV programs, dates, and times. One program I highly recommend is our Community Access, hosted by our very own Bill Service. Bill always has interesting local stories and great interviews that are relevant to your community. Check it out. I'm Julie Hogan, and this is Oxford Community TV's weekly calendar of events. Join us next week to learn more about new and exciting events happening in your neighborhood. Until then, make it a great week, and thank you for watching.
Welcome Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, a federal investigation seeking upward of 60 recalled Volkswagen vehicles that were stolen from the parking lot of the Pontiac Silverdome is underway after fake titles allowed the vehicles to cross state lines, according to news reports. VW rented the facility in Pontiac, Michigan in January to store vehicles repurchased from consumers under a settlement over diesel emission violations. About 8,700 vehicles were parked at the abandoned former home of the Detroit Lions NFL franchise, the Free Press reported. Several stolen vehicles have been spotted in Kentucky and Indiana. 32 were bought to Mannheim Auto Auction in Clarkville, Indiana, by Last Stop Auto of Radcliffe, Kentucky. They were given fake Michigan titles, Indiana State Police Sergeant Jerry Goodwin told WDRB, a radio station in Louisville, Kentucky. They were bought to southern Indiana and Kentucky. We know at least 60 of them were missing. Volkswagen was keeping track of all these vehicles they were purchasing back and buying back, Goodwin said. When the vehicle identification numbers started showing up again in their system, that's when the red flag started flying. Legal representatives of Last Stop Auto said the business purchased the recalled Audis and Volkswagens for $11,000 from a supplier out of Michigan and sold them, not knowing they were stolen, at auction for about $18,000, WDRB reported. As of Monday, Indiana State Police said 12 of the stolen cars were still on the auction lot in Clarksville. 9 of the missing vehicles, 6 Volkswagen Passats and 3 utility vehicles, were reportedly seized in Hardin County, Kentucky, near Louisville. VW declined to comment on the investigation. And at Magna, global parts supplier Magna International invested $60 million to add aluminum casting capabilities at its Camtech plant in Alabama and meet the demand for lighter vehicles in the auto industry. Magna, based near Toronto, added a 150,000 square foot facility in the city of Birmingham, which has the potential to create more than 100 jobs once running at full capacity, the supplier said in a statement. The new plant, now operational, will initially produce lightweight aluminum front shock towers for a major global automaker, with additional customers and programs expected in the future. Magna uses a high-pressure aluminum casting process that allows production of full structures in one piece, reducing vehicle mass without compromising performance, structural integrity, or safety, the company said. Traditional steel multi-piece welded assemblies can take multiple stampings, upwards of 12 in some cases, to produce one single structural component. The Camtech facility employs about 850 people and produces structural components for customers including Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, and Nissan. Magna International Incorporated ranked number 3 on the Automotive News list of the top 100 global suppliers with worldwide sales to automakers of $36 billion in 2016. And over at Lincoln, Ford Motor Company's premium Lincoln brand plans to offer hybrid gasoline-electric versions of all its U.S. models by 2022, according to 3 sources familiar with the plans. Details could be announced as early as October 3rd, when Ford CEO Jim Hackett plans to update investors on the automaker's strategy. Company officials were also considering whether to introduce one or more all-electric Lincoln models, one source said. The proposed electrification plan could be critical to Lincoln's future in China, which will require automakers to make electric vehicles an increasing percentage of their total sales. The Lincoln hybrids are part of a broader Ford program to offer at least 18 new electric and hybrid vehicles over the next 5 years, the sources said. The plan to offer a portfolio of Lincoln hybrid models was crafted here before Hackett took over in May, the sources said. Lincoln aims to follow a path blazed this year by several European premium brands, including Daimler AG, Zhejiang Geely Holding Group's Volvo Cars, BMW, and Jaguar Land Rover. Ford said in January of 2016 it would spend $4.5 billion to electrify a portion of its U.S. fleet, including hybrid versions of the Mustang and F-150 and at least 11 other models. The extent of the electrification effort, including details on specific new and redesigned models, has not previously been disclosed. As the Lincoln brand rolls out redesigned versions of its existing models and introduces at least one new model, it is planning to introduce plug-in hybrid versions of those vehicles, beginning with the redesigned MKC crossover and the new Aviator crossover in 2019, the sources said. The redesigned Lincoln Navigator, which goes on sale this autumn, is expected to add a conventional hybrid version in 2019. Subsequent redesigned Lincoln vehicles including the MKZ sedan in 2020 and the Continental sedan and MKX crossover in 2022, are expected to include plug-in hybrid variants, the sources said. Wow, they're on the road. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.